adolescent experience. Boredom rules while expectations are high. The rush of the school year comes to a stop, and we wonder what we should be doing. Internships, virtual classes, expensive camps, and dazzling vacations are just some of the things that ought to be sought out. But the song of cicadas and the buzz of long hot days cut into this sense of purpose, and teenagers are left with themselves and their thoughts. We wonder if we had done enough. The summer we have been longing for during a series of seemingly endless classes reveals itself to be this season of underwhelming experience and overwhelming introspection.
Most of the pressure that I have, I think, comes from myself.
For my family, it's always been put into my head like have a picture of what you want to do, like oh, you need to succeed in whatever you want to do right now.
We're like constantly competing with our classmates and our friends to like get to achieve our own goals. You know, like right now, rising senior in high school, so like the goal is to get into a good college, and so the pressure is all there.
I think we get a lot of mixed messages because there are always going to be people who say, oh, you have a lot of time to figure things out. Like, I've heard that pretty much since freshman year up until now. I still have people who say, oh, you have a lot of time to figure out, you know, what you want to do for college and that sort of thing. And then there are those people who will ask you every single time they see you what you plan on doing for college, like family members.
I'm given an opportunity that they haven't been given, or at least not. I have an opportunity that they haven't had to the extent that I have. Because of that, it's like a lot. Like my dad especially wants me to succeed and do well in school because, like, for him, he didn't really have that much of an opportunity to do so. And, like, here he is. I think he likes his job, definitely. But there are times where, like, he says, "Don't end up like me. Like, don't end up working in a nail salon. Like, go pursue what you want to do."
When I grew up in Taiwan, there is no such thing like what you like or what you don't like for career, because everybody is, especially in like my parents' generation, they only care about survival. So there's only one issue, like which kind of career that you have that can help you make money.
Nothing has gone as I had hoped or planned, but that's okay because I figured it out over time. So when I was in high school, I was a really good goalkeeper. I played soccer, loved it. Wanted to go to college, play it. I wanted to go overseas and play it. And by the time I was 22, I blew out my knee twice, so I couldn't play soccer. About 2-3 weeks right before graduation, I had a job at the State Department, internship at the State Department that I was going to roll into and then start my life on the road, going overseas, meeting new people. They retracted the offer. Everything I had worked for, getting really good grades, going to a really good school, making a decision on what I wanted to be, out the window.
My identity is somewhat dependent on all the people that I identify with. So anybody is just a culmination of their experience. And my worldview has been shaped by that. And I do think I'm still on that, of course, quest for identity. Like, I can't really say who I am right now because I don't know myself.
I think my identity has always been centered, probably a little bit too much, around what other people think of me. Having this anxiety that when people saw me, they thought that I wasn't able to hold a conversation well, or that I was weird or something. So yeah, I would say that sometimes my identity comes from what other people think of me, and when that changes, then kind of who I feel I am changes.
A lot of teenagers in these are like finding their identity now, and that's fine. I think that's something that is it's a normal thing. It's it's not futile really. It helps you understand yourself better, and it just generally is, I find, a good way to also help yourself connect with other people. Like, establishing where your identity is helps it so that, like, hey, what kind of people would you, like, vibe the best with, if that makes any sense? Yeah.
I used to be hanging out a lot with a certain group of people who were all really nice, but they all, to me, it seemed like they were all popular and cool, and I just kind of saw myself as not really a part of that. And when I started eating lunch more with another group of friends that I just kind of, they seemed more like me and I was more comfortable around them, that's when I started being able to see myself as differently and not worry as much about other people's thoughts about me.
I was in a flower arrangement club, and that club was held by my language teacher, and he knew that I was quite active in class for literature, and he suddenly asked me a question. Are you going to further your study after you graduate from this college? I kind of answered something like, yeah, it would be nice to continue my study, but I don't think my father will let me do it. So I think he got very upset, and he just replied. He said, it is you yourself to decide what you want to do, not your father. It was very, very surprising to me. It's like a thunder on my head. And at that time, your teacher were not supposed to do that either, to suggest that either, because of the tradition that you have to listen to your parents.
For the last 18 years, you've been told what's important to you, right? And, to be happy, to not feel lost, if you always know what you love, you always know what your next step is. And you don't have to be the best at everything, just to be the best.
If you always don't want to do the real thing you want to do, and you just keep procrastinating, then eventually you won't be happy about yourself. So I would say my expectation to them is responsible to themselves.
The whole point of Robin, like the Teen Titans and stuff. Like, Robin made the Teen Titans because he was stuck in Batman's shadow. I have 2 older sisters, and really, my search for my own identity and my own future is kind of a struggle because I need to get out of their shadow. Because, they're both in college, they both go to a great school, and a lot of times it's my parents comparing them to me, me to them, and seeing, saying, oh, they were doing this at your age and they were this great and stuff like that, and I think I really want to distance myself from that and define myself apart from them, just like how Robin didn't want to be Batman's sidekick, he wanted to be Robin.
Okay, so I guess there is one. I don't know, have you ever read The Mysterious Benedict Society? And so Rainey is almost like the leader of the group. So he feels like he has a lot of responsibility on him for the other people, and that can affect his decisions and kind of, I guess, his character throughout the book. So I guess I feel like I relate to that in some kind of way, where I know a lot of people, like my family members and peers around me, look up to me in some ways, and I kind of feel responsible for my actions in how they see me, kind of thing. You feel like you need to make the best decisions or the best move for the other people around you.
It's general satisfaction with your own life. Even though I gave you that broad definition of what I would like, the way to achieve that is really skewed by all the people around me, where it's success will only come if you go to the best college. Success will only come if you have an amazing career and you give back to your society and all that stuff. That's a certain way of going about it, but I don't think that it's the only way to end up happy.
I would say one defining moment for me was early in my career with my company. There was always pressure to keep moving. The 10-year mark, I was on that sort of level, starting to move ahead of people that came in with me. But I don't think I was really happy. I was starting not to do the things that I really enjoyed, like the travel, spending time with my family. It was very career driven, and that wasn't how I wanted to measure success. So some opportunities came up and I turned them down. And at the beginning it was scary to turn them down. You're supposed to embrace them and go for the next thing, and that's sort of what corporate culture is like. Is, you know, if you stop, then something's wrong with you, right? So it was really scary to say time out and stop. But it was the best thing I could have ever done in my life.
Definitely a large sense of uncertainty. It's like sometimes I'll just be like sitting and like working, and then I think about like college apps or something like that, and they like comes across something like, what if I'm not doing enough? Like, what if I'm not gonna get into those colleges I want to? What if I don't achieve those goals? Just kind of exposing myself a bit. Like, I try to act like I have it all in order, like I'm ready for this and I can do it. But like, of course, you know, I'm just as unsure about everything as everyone else, and that uncertainty is definitely present always. But I think acting in spite of that uncertainty is really what's gonna make me go far.
I feel like part of the excitement is like trying it for that first time as well. I feel like the same can be applied to like life in college and such. Like you might have an idea of what it is, but you might not know exactly. And I feel like that's part of the charm, you know. So I guess, yeah, I think I am fine with this current level of uncertainty. I feel makes life a bit more fulfilling, if that makes sense. Or maybe not fulfilling, but like joyful and like yeah, worth doing.
Sometimes I feel a bit sad about it. At my age, I still did not really fulfill my dream. But right now, when I look back, I think life is actually not point A to point B. Okay, if you decide you kind of plan to go to B, and if you didn't reach that point, you are a failure. I don't think so. Especially for teenagers like you know, you will worry about like, you know, oh, how about if I make a wrong decision? I did not succeed to reach the point B. But at this point, when I look back, I see this life, you know, the decision making and the result. I don't see that A to B. I see it as a journey. So if I see a life as a journey, I think the decision I made make my journey more kind of interesting. You know, very twisted, but you know, I feel challenged, and then I feel sad, I feel frustrated. But however, if you look back, the route you have gone through, it is beautiful. It's very exciting.
Anything can go to waste. Don't doubt it. You shouldn't have to worry about your time. When you really finally run out of it, I promise you won't be aware. You might cry over spilt milk, spilt clouds. You might spill your eyes over a shadow you perceive, or the creature snuffling behind you, the angel dipping from the howling sky to snatch someone else up, but catch your scent in doing so. Don't mind him. The best assumption is always that he'll forget about you for a few decades. Not to say you shouldn't budget. You have to eat, have to sleep. Time can, in fact, be yours to give. Take a breath, reset your clock, do your work, and then do what you want. I demand you not worry, but I know you will. So instead, please remember, While you're alive, there's time left still.